A new segment brought to you on WXYZ.com. Brad Galli here in our web studio with ESPN's Tom VanHaaren. 4th and 1, Michigan recruiting. We know that you want to know who's next on the field for your Wolverines, so who better to turn to than the man, the guy in charge of Big Ten recruiting for ESPN. Tom, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. A new show and new opportunities.
Explain to people what you bring to the table on a weekly basis here about Michigan recruiting and what they can expect at the next level from some of the best recruits in the country.
Well, I've been covering Michigan for around 5 years now. I'm based out of Michigan, so I'm within the action. I'm right in the midst of everything. I do cover the entire Big Ten now, so it kind of gives me a bigger breadth, a bigger depth of everything that's going on with the Big Ten. So, yeah, Michigan's doing very well in recruiting right now. We have them ranked number 6 overall in the ESPN class rankings, and there's plenty to talk about heading into the season.
I think throughout the summer we would come in here on a Saturday and say it's a slow news day, and all of a sudden a report would trickle out. We'd see a tweet from you, hey, so-and-so is going to announce their commitment. So-and-so is going to commit to Michigan. And the numbers just kept rising. We saw them rise on basically every site, including yours. Drake Harris was a big guy, the number 1 ranked player in the state by many publications. Where do you have him ranked?
He's within the ESPN 300. He's one of our top receivers. Yeah, I actually got to see him out at Michigan's camp. He made some impressive catches. Some of the oohs and ahs came out of camp, and that's usually not what happens in that atmosphere. So he's a big-time get for them for sure. I know he originally was committed to Michigan State for basketball and football, and now switched over to Michigan. So he's going to fit in really well with what Michigan's looking for. He's a tall receiver, a big body. He can go up and get the jump ball. Exactly what Brady Hoke wants on offense.
Grand Rapids Christian product right now, top team seen by many within the state. He's out the first 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury, but it seems like, I know he's not going to be there right now to fix the problem that they have maybe a wide receiver, but he is the kind of athlete, the kind of body that this program's seeking.
Oh, definitely. And they had a big need at wide receiver, too. You saw it this weekend. Joe Reynolds went down. I think he'll be okay, but they definitely have a big need. They're going to lose Jeremy Gallon. They're going to lose some of their big wide receivers. So this class, this 2014 class, it was imperative that they land some of the top kids. And not only that, some of the top kids from in-state and around the Midwest, it's important to keep them home. To keep a Drake Harris away from Michigan State was very important.
So we'll go 4 downs with this, and then we'll give you the extra points. So that was first down. The first 4 downs will be all about high school. Recruits currently on the high school field, and then that last extra point will be someone on the field for Michigan, ideally a freshman on a week-to-week basis. So we'll go second down and talk kind of about a family lineage here, Tom. The Wanglers. John was the quarterback at Michigan. Jack from De La Salle, a wide receiver, walk-on. Now Jared switches from Penn State to Michigan early in August. You're shaking your head. Kind of a surprising commitment to how fast it happened?
Well, it's just funny because you didn't even mention the sister who transferred from Oakland who plays basketball. She's at Michigan now, too. So, yeah, there's Wanglers all over Ann Arbor right now. Jared got offered a little bit late in the process. Obviously, he was committed to Penn State and loved what they brought to him and what they offered. But to pass an opportunity up like that, to play where your father played, to play with your brother, that was just too big for him to pass up. He took a visit, ended up committing, and he's friends with a lot of the guys that are currently on the roster. A guy like Shane Morris, and obviously his brother. So it was basically a no-brainer.
Funny just to see all the J's. I'm getting jumbled them up, trying to get them all down. But good kids, good to see that happen to them to be all collected there together. Big weekend. Notre Dame, Michigan, Under the Lights, Part 2. It's obviously the topic of conversation in Ann Arbor, in South Bend, nationwide. It's also a big weekend for recruiting.
Not for Brian Kelly, right?
No, not for Brian Kelly. Not a traditional historic rivalry.
No, it's definitely a big weekend. The number 4 prospect for ESPN, defensive end Deshaun Hand, he's coming up from Virginia. His coach told me they're renting a 15-person van. They're not bringing 15 people. They're bringing 3 prospects. And I asked him, I said, you've got 3 guys, a 15-person van, what's the deal? He said, Tom, these guys are all 6'5", 260 pounds. I need that big of a van to bring those guys up. So he's bringing a 2015 prospect with him, Tim Settle. We have him as number 7 overall in the 2015 class. They're also bringing an offensive lineman, Matt Burrell, from the 2015 class. Deshaun has Michigan in his top 3 with Florida and Alabama. He's going to visit Michigan this weekend. Florida on October 5th when they take on Arkansas. And then Alabama actually gets the last crack before he makes his decision. November 9th when they play LSU. And then he's going to decide on the 14th. So As of right now, it looks like Michigan's in good shape with him. They have a ton of connections. And something interesting that just came up, the Washington Post is doing a documentary on his recruitment. They're calling it First and 17. And he has a new head coach, which brings along new assistant coaches.
Yeah.
One of those new assistant coaches, former Michigan linebacker Prescott Burgess. Well, Prescott also played for the Baltimore Ravens when Greg Madison was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. Greg Madison's now the defensive coordinator for Michigan.
It's kind of coming together.
Absolutely. And this weekend will be a big, big factor for that, so we'll see what happens.
What has been the biggest difference you've seen, maybe just to take a step away real quick, of putting Michigan back in the national conversation for being such a recruiting power? Because the wins have come, yes, but they haven't made that BCS impact in the Hoke era. What have you seen that's been different?
There's always one comparable aspect to every kid's recruitment. One thing that they all mention, and it's the family atmosphere. Now, when these recruits go through the process, these coaches at different schools, they tell them, oh, we have a family atmosphere, oh, we have this. And the kids are very good at figuring out what the coaches are telling the truth with and what they're not.
Right.
When a kid
because they go through a lot, and
right.
they hear a lot of the same, bull a little bit here and there.
Absolutely.
The same sales pitch.
Oh, yeah, and that's exactly right. It's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
When they go to Michigan, when they go with their family, their parents, they come away saying the exact same thing. I felt so comfortable. Brady Hoke was talking to us in his shorts and sandals and having a 40-minute conversation with us about life and about things outside of football. The coaches' wives are on hand. They have food and everybody sits down and just talks about things, not necessarily football or the recruitment. So I think for me, that's been the biggest thing, the same thing throughout everyone's recruitment is that family atmosphere. The coaches aren't selling anything. They know that when Brady Hoke says this is Michigan, he really means it.
He says that quite often too.
Right, yeah. It comes up a lot.
It does.
But that's something that he actually believes, and they show when those kids are on campus. So I think that's the biggest factor.
We had, to go ahead now to fourth down and kind of relate it together, we had Southfield coach Tim Conley in here talking about Malik McDowell, one of the best players in the state again.
Yep.
As big as they get as far as defensive linemen. And he said the biggest transition that he made from transferring from Detroit Loyola to Southfield was the fitting in immediately, the type of family atmosphere. He'll be on hand this Saturday from what you've understood and gathered?
He will. And that's another big visit. Deshaun Hand is right up there with Malik McDowell in terms of the biggest targets left for Michigan. Like you mentioned, he just transferred. He's now playing alongside Michigan commit and defensive end Lawrence Marshall. Another tie for Michigan with another defensive player. It looks like Michigan is in good shape with Malik as well. Michigan State might be in the mix too, but I feel like Michigan has a really, really good shot with Malik McDowell. So this visit, I think, is going to be big for both McDowell and Hand. We'll see if anyone makes a decision. I'm not expecting that, but that type of atmosphere, that can certainly change things.
To go to our extra point and to stay with that atmosphere, Brady Hoke Company, nothing against Shane Morris. They're hoping he's not a part of the atmosphere Saturday night. They want Devin Gardner in that game the whole time. From the recruitment buzz that surrounded him for so long to seeing him against Central Michigan, you can't tell too much. I was impressed at least with his composure in the game. He looked like a college quarterback, which when you see some freshmen that have stepped into that point in that first game, you can't say that a lot. What did you take from his performance?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was funny to see him out there on my TV rather than in person and walking up next to him and just saying hi on the high school field. So it was fun for me. That's the fun part of it for when I cover a kid and he goes on to see his dreams come true. But from the football aspect of it, yeah, I thought he did well. I mean, he's going to have some nerves, and that's why he was playing. He needs to shake that stuff off. He needs to get into a rhythm and get into the feel of what a college atmosphere is really like. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different game atmosphere than playing Central Michigan, but I think it was good for him. He didn't show a ton. He definitely needs to improve on things, but what freshman doesn't?
Exactly. This guy needs no improvement. Tom VanHaaren, ESPN. You can find your work. Explain to the people. Give them a little shout out of where they can find you.
Well, I'm all over Twitter, as you know. You can follow me at TomVH. I make it easy for you.
You got 20 million followers?
If you guys can help me get there, that'd be great.
It's close. Give him a follow.
And then also at recruitingnation.com. That's where all of ESPN's recruiting news is at.
Perfect, man. He'll be here every week with us to break down Michigan recruiting, look ahead, look back, and give you some sleepers to look forward to who will be on that field next for you Michigan fans. Thanks so much for watching.